This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had, impressions.
Cut the bullspend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Magic, the Adweek podcast, where we talk about innovation, technology, AI, of course, and everything in between. I am your host, Kathy Hackle, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Lee Keebler. Lee, how is TreeFort? Tell us all about it.
I'm so tired.
I'm tired after looking at your Instagram stories, but it looked like a blast.
It was so much fun, and I have not been this exhausted in like a decade. And I genuinely mean this. It was that moment where I'm like, oh, I am not 25 years old anymore. I cannot keep doing this.
Wait, Lee, I thought you were 27.
Yeah, see, not 25. In 2012, I was invited to go do some really awesome technology innovation stuff, give a keynote and things like that in Sydney, Australia for an event that I often talk about called Vivid Sydney. And Vivid Sydney is this moment during their winter, which is our summer, where the entire city gets projection mapped and it looks like this city from the future. It's amazing. And then I come home and I'm like, how does the Western world not know this event is happening in Australia every year? And I've always wondered that. And then I go to TreeFort, which I had not actually known much about. It's amazing. It's genuinely incredible. And I question why not the Western world, but just the eastern side of the country doesn't know this event is going on.
Maybe it's a good thing, Lee.
I think some of that might be by design. Last week, when I first talked about this, I kind of likened it to a smaller version of South by Southwest, but for the Pacific Northwest. Then I went into it and I said, oh, no, that's an apt description, except for it's not small at all. It's huge. It's the entire city. Huge stages that sprawl all across the city. The forts are super cool because they all have I was at Hack Fort for the first half of it, which was all about technology. And it ranged everywhere from microprocessors to virtual reality to everything in between. A lot of AI talk. It was incredible. It was genuinely shockingly good.
I want to go next time. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. I've been to Boise, Idaho a couple of times. That's where it's located. And I've not spent too much time there. Most of the time that I'd spent there was like back in my touring days as a musician. We would come in, we'd do a show, and we'd leave, and you never actually see any place. It's just a different venue every night. And to be able to spend 3 days in Boise, I'd never been there. Didn't have any expectations. I probably foolishly and a little bit to my ignorance went in just thinking potatoes, right? Like, and it was such an amazing city, really great time. And thankfully the weather was really nice for the majority of it. But we had a really good keynote. I changed my keynote like right at the last minute. I think this is, to back up for a second, this might be the first time in our history working together where you and I were, if not giving a keynote on the same exact day, maybe actually at the exact time.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh. That's never happened before.
It's never happened. But I think you were giving a keynote really close to the same time that I was giving a keynote. So I do want to hear about your keynote too. But yeah, I changed my topic like right at the last second. And I think it was a good switch. We talked more about how to find opportunity during like economic struggles and things like that.
Change the tone to more positive. I like that. I'm all for that, Lee Keebler.
So here's the thing. The first iteration of it was about just technology design and designing technology for the user's end case. And so it was originally called Designing Miracles. And as I thought about that title, it dawned on me, and maybe I'm just like the last horse to cross the finish line here, but the definition of a miracle is always positive because it's fixing something that's negative.
Okay.
So miracles don't really occur unless something is bad, like in our head, right? Like how a person would define a miracle. It's always like solving something that is like, oh, this was really bad and now something good came out of it. Or, oh, that's a miracle. And so then that was what spun the gears in my head of, oh no, we're going to keep the title, but we're actually going to talk about like, how do you continue building in the technology space when especially the last year and it looks like the upcoming year is just going to be very difficult for the technology industry as a whole. And so, yeah, we spun it in that direction and it was great. We had a really good talk.
That's awesome. So my keynote went really well. It was for Women's History Month. So wrapping up Women's History Month in Costa Rica. It was about Costa Rican women that have succeeded in different areas. So I was like the tech person. There were women that are working in science and women that were working in agriculture and like all these sorts of things. It was a fantastic event. Had a really good time. Something happened during my keynote that has never, ever happened to me before. So while I'm doing my keynote, all of a sudden a small earthquake happens.
Oh my gosh.
But small, like tiny, tiny. So nothing like what happened in Thailand and other places.
Right.
But I'm like literally like I start seeing people like just making noise and I'm like, what's going on? And then someone's like, está temblando, which means there's like a small earthquake. So I'm like, I'm holding the mic. I don't know what to do, right? Because I'm not the MC. And I'm like, do I say, please direct yourselves to the exits? I don't know. But ended up the MC stepped in and stuff. But the whole joke was that my talk was so good and they were so motivating that I shook the earth.
There you go.
So I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that in one of my like testimonials for speaking. It was great. I had a lot of fun. I mean, my parents and my brother and his family are in Costa Rica. So it was always nice to just get that family time down there and stuff. So yeah, overall pretty good.
I saw some of the photos that looked beautiful. I think you had better weather than I did, and I was pretty happy with the weather.
It was gorgeous weather, I have to say. It was really pretty, and it just never goes wrong. So I'm spending this week here in DC, and then the week after, I am super excited. I am heading over to Vancouver for TED. I'm going to the big TED, the big one where the big TED Talks happen. It's my first big TED, and I am super thrilled. We had folks from TED here. We had folks from TED on the podcast last year because they were celebrating one of their big anniversaries. And yeah, now I'm going to go and experience TED for the first time. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Wait, when is this?
Next week.
Next week. So will we actually be able to do the podcast from the same time zone for the first time?
Actually, we will. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to because the TED Talks start right about that time, but we might do it earlier, but on the same time zone.
That works for me. That's incredible.
That works for you.
Yes. Yes.
So that's awesome. It'll be fun. All right. Lots of news.
Oh, and then coming up later in the show, we actually have our friend Adam Davis McGee, who is going to be joining us with a new segment. So we'll get to that. I just want to make sure that the listeners know. Stick around. We have like a really good segment coming up towards the end.
And you guys probably know ADM. So Adam's been, sometimes I can't make the podcast, he'll jump in. He's been interviewed on the pod. He's a good friend of ours, a good friend of the podcast. And he's going to be launching a fun little new segment. So excited about that. Okay, so starting off with some easier news, let's say OpenAI has announced the launch of OpenAI Academy, which is a free global community hub for AI education. So that seems to be a move in the right direction when it comes to AI literacy across the globe, especially with so many people using OpenAI's tools. They also just announced more of an open type of model. It's going to be their first highly capable open language model since GPT-2. So I'm curious to see how that starts. They opened up something for open model feedback for developers to kind of share their feedback and have feedback sessions related to newer, more open weight model that's unlocking new opportunities for developers. So maybe a step in the right direction, Lee?
I don't know. There is something that I find disingenuous about a company that has open in their name, making an open product like it's something special, right? Like, wasn't this supposed to be open all along? There's just something in the back of my head that feels like it's placating. They're trying to play both sides of the fence. And it's not a dig at them. I like them as a language model. I still think they're one of the best that you can use. They're constantly trying to create a better product. But I don't know. There is something that is like, I'm supposed to pat you on the back for making an open model and your company's name is OpenAI. I don't know.
I understand the feeling.
It's not like a look good gift horse in the mouth type thing. It just feels like duh. But any transparency is welcome, I guess. Great.
Any transparency and openness is welcome, I would
yes,
say.
Yes.
So, hey, possibly a step in the right direction. Definitely the OpenAI Academy, I think that's a good thing.
I do too, but
right? You're skeptical?
I'm not skeptical. No, that's great. I think that getting people trained up on their projects and being able to like address how to use their system better on any form of level or education is helpful. And I hope that includes things like Sora and other stuff, because there's some opaqueness to even how to prompt some of these tools where you see output, right, that's being shared online that looks amazing. And then you go to do it and it kind of looks like you did everything with Play-Doh, right? And someone else is chiseling the Michelangelo over here and you're over here with year-old dried out Play-Doh trying to make the same thing. And you don't really have any clarity on as to why that's happening. So I would be interested in it. I would take a look.
So that leads me to also another one of the stories that we want to talk about, which is the craze that happened last week. So we're recording Monday. It drops on Wednesday with Studio Ghibli. But the craziness of everyone uploading their images to OpenAI and doing Studio Ghibli versions, that became a thing, like a trend across social. But also, for me, like, I just felt bad. I tried to do it, I have to be honest. And then I quickly realized it didn't let me do it because it was, I guess the system was crashing. And I quickly realized, like, I'm using someone's style that has spent years creating a specific style. So I felt bad. And then also I was like, am I really thinking about this correctly? I'm uploading photos of my family that maybe I haven't uploaded on social before.
Ding, 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 ding.
And training OpenAI's model for free on new images. So thoughts around this craze? Did you do it?
I invested in tinfoil hats. That's what I did when I saw this. I immediately went and bought reams of Reynolds tinfoil. Seems very strange. Part of me doesn't think it was on purpose, right? Genuinely. I think someone discovered they could do this. Its output looked absolutely incredible. Like, I've had plenty of friends post their versions. It was shockingly good. It didn't invoke Studio Ghibli. It was Studio Ghibli. Like, it was undeniable, bonkers level good. And it confirmed a couple of major points that are happening in the copyright argument of, hey, this is obviously ripping direct artwork on some level that they didn't have an agreement with, I'm guessing. But there's another part of me that says you don't do this on purpose, because if you are going to purposefully rip off an art style and try to get away with it, you don't want to do it by one of the most well-known art studios on the planet. It would be akin to trying to rip off Nintendo. You're going to get sued and they're going to win. It's really crazy. Studio Ghibli is not Nintendo. It's not up there necessarily with the Disney, but it's so recognizable. And then it really drives home after you do it. Wait, are we not ripping off a very specific art style? Maybe the copyright conversation has some validity. If I'm OpenAI, that's not the thing I want people thinking.
That's a good point.
It's not worth the social media bump, because they've already are behind the blocks right now with the legal argument, not just in the US, but especially now we're talking about the EU and other parts of the world. And this is definitely going to put a kibosh on the Eastern market with a lot of this stuff, because you're just ripping off people's intellectual property. And it felt weird. And then the whole thing of like, and everyone's uploading their photos.
Yes. I didn't really think about it till like I got that message, you can't process it right now. And then I took a step back. And then I saw someone post about that exact thing on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, we're actually training this for free with these images that we're uploading constantly because we're putting all our families and all these special precious moments.
Yeah, I've never uploaded a photo of myself specifically to AI. Obviously, Instagram or other social media platforms I have in the past, and I feel like that kind of ship sailed. If I were starting over today, I don't know if I would. But it's the same feeling that I had of like why I never did like 23andMe.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to delete my data. I'm still trying to delete my data. I'm like, come on. I just want to delete my data.
Yeah.
Such a menace.
And once that data is out there, that data is gone. So we definitely need a new approach to a lot of these data laws here in the US. I don't know if or when that will ever happen. I keep saying, and I've said it on this show many times, EU will probably end up saving us because they seem to be on top of the right side of law creation when it comes to personal data. But yeah, I did not do it. It looks cool though.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. Now I just want to delete my data, please. Please let me delete my data. All right, Lee. So in other AI news, there's some Apple AI news, Apple Map news. Care to share what those news are?
Yeah, so as negative as I am about where data gets scraped for AI, it looks like, and this is tough for me because I've given Apple such a hard time this year. I have to admit, I think they're doing Apple Intelligence right. They've done a lot that seems like a misstep, but for their visual data, they're scraping Apple Maps, which they have every legal right to do. That is their data that they have. They own that. That is exactly the way you should be approaching training a vision model or a language model, is based on the content that you legally have access to. So I am refusing to count Apple Intelligence out. I think that there's a good chance it will take them longer to get there, but in the end, this approach keeps them legally out of murky waters and out of a lot of negative stories or legal lawsuits, things like this, that very well could be the thing that ties up systems like OpenAI or Grok or what have you here in the US. I feel the same way about Google with Gemini. They've just got so much legal data that they own that I think that they're just better positioned in the long run to not have to get hung up in a lot of these AI copyright legal battles. Time will tell.
Time will tell. We're still waiting for the courts to tell us what is and what isn't and what we can and can't do. So,
yes. In non-AI news, I love finally going to the gaming stuff. And I've been teasing this for what feels like now 2 years.
I know what's coming. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are finally, this month, we're going to understand what the Nintendo Switch 2 actually looks like. We have a really good outlook on it now. There's been so many leaks of what it physically looks like. There's starting to become leaks of new content. We're looking at a new Metroid game. We're obviously looking at a new Mario Kart game. These are all going to be fantastic. Again, I was just talking to someone about this today. And it's going to be basically a spec bump, right? It's going to be very similar to the Nintendo Switch from what we understand. But there also seems to be a few applications hidden within where potentially if you have an old Switch, it can still mirror to the new Switch. So there's going to be some type of connectivity between the two. So you don't want to just get rid of your old Switch to buy the Switch 2. You would want to hold on to it, maybe for some at-home gameplay with siblings or spouses or friends. So yeah, we're going to know from the Nintendo Switch announcement this month. This is just me reading tea leaves over here. I have a real sneaking suspicion that it might launch the day it's announced.
You think so?
I think it's going to be really close. There has been a couple of instances, though, where supposedly Nintendo is being very careful on who they give development kits to. So there's been some popular studios that have been a little problematic in the past who just aren't getting the development kits early. And so I think that is going to push back a few ports, but they've been doing their best to try to like calm down leaks and things like that, which hasn't really worked all too well. We know quite a bit, but yeah, we're going to know something April 2nd. So that is 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to know all. That's going to be super exciting.
We're going to know everything we need to know.
Yes. In fact, that's when this show goes live. So by the time this show goes live, you will be hearing whatever the Nintendo Switch 2 is. So congratulations to the future. I hope it's as exciting as I think it's going to be. I'm pretty sure.
I hope so, because you have been definitely hyping it up, my friend.
I know. If it's not, next episode is going to be a real bummer.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, my kids are going to be excited. So I'm excited for that. Other gaming news for folks that are interested. Andreessen Horowitz A16Z's Speed Run, which is their gaming accelerator, is opening up applications. So yeah, I applied last year, like I mentioned, with a dating and gaming startup, made it, I don't even know, halfway through the process and didn't get the funding. But I'll be trying my luck again with some cool ideas that I've got. But yeah, just check it out, everyone. If you have a cool gaming idea, definitely apply. They're going to be, I think, funding startups starting, I think the original investment they're going to make is $1 million. So nothing to say no to. So yeah, very exciting. I hope that they get a lot of really interesting applications. They normally do.
Oh, I'm sure that they will. In last January, we talked about what our predictions for 2025 were, and I still stand behind. I think this is the year that indie gaming does very well. The larger studios are struggling. So anywhere where there's innovation, I think we're going to still see an influx of investment. People are still looking for good places to invest in creativity and art. I definitely think this is one of those. So if you are sitting on one of those ideas, go for it. You don't know unless you try.
You never know. So I've got an idea I'm working on that we'll see what happens. I keep dreaming the big dreams. Like I'm ready to build something, scale it, and then eventually sell it because that's what I'd love to do. I joke and I say I'm a tech and gaming executive that likes to build companies and sell them.
That would probably be my description for you for sure.
The many other things I do. But yes, I'm in build mode again and I'm ready to build and eventually sell because the exit's very nice. But yeah, talking about gaming and dating, I did a video the other day on Instagram and LinkedIn talking about how Generation Alpha. So Generation Alpha are the kids of millennials. So born 2010 till the end of 2024. These kids are like freshmen in high school, they're in middle school, they're starting to date. I've noticed that with my kids and other friends' kids. They're dating very differently. They're very 21st century kind of dating. And yeah, I wrote a whole article about it for Forbes on how the new hallway flirt is Snap, how the new place where they meet is gaming, like Roblox and Fortnite, all these gaming spaces, which you and I have talked about before, how AI is in some ways becoming a wingman of sorts for especially Gen Z is using more like ChatGPT as a wingman. But I could see how Gen Alpha is eventually going to adopt that. So yeah, just a lot of changes happening there when it comes to these kids starting their dating journey. Like early on, I'm talking like middle school dance kind of thing where people are like dancing in separate lines apart from each other and stuff. But it's starting. They're starting to date. So the dating apps, they better realize in a couple years they're going to have some interesting new users that are not just going to be okay with swiping right and left. I think they're going to look for more interactivity in gaming and experiences.
Yes. And with that in mind, I actually am just getting some breaking news, which will no longer be breaking news come Wednesday when the show goes live. But I think a lot of people have forgotten that Saturday, there's actually a deadline for the sale of TikTok that is looming.
This Saturday? This next Saturday?
From what I can tell. And
wow.
I don't know how much credibility I give into any of this. I am just reading it from Reuters as it comes in. But there is a conversation happening with Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States, saying that the TikTok sale deal will come before the Saturday deadline. No other information has been given, just that there are a lot of potential buyers and there's tremendous interest in making sure that TikTok remains alive. Beyond that, I've got no other new information, but it is a deadline that seems to be like looming in the past from January. Something has got to give by April 5th, according to the agreement that's currently in place.
I have not thought about TikTok in a while, but the TikTok ban, right?
Yeah.
The ban or whatever. Like, I haven't thought about that in forever. So. The ban? Never happened, but oh my gosh. Yeah.
So those type of things that happen, they're monumental, then you just forget about them, and then they sneak back up.
Good reminder, Lee. Good reminder. Well, how about this? Let's go on break, and when we get back, we'll have some more news, and then we will introduce ADM's new segment, which I'm really excited about. So let's go on a break.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD Advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
All right. So, Lee, are you like a huge fan of Black Mirror, the show on Netflix?
Oh, that's a tough question. I've been asked this question many times, and my answer stays the same. I love the later seasons. I didn't much care for the first 2 seasons.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they lean more into the technology, I felt like, in the later seasons. The first 2 seasons felt just kind of like extreme Twilight Zone. They didn't really have a strong theme other than like, this is just going to hurt your head. And in the later seasons, it definitely focused more on areas of technology that I like, that I just gravitate, I think, a little bit more naturally towards. But yeah. Why do you ask?
So season 7 is dropping soon.
I did not know that.
It's all over Instagram.
We have very different Instagrams. I know that.
Just go to my Instagram stories. Just go to my Instagram stories because I shared it earlier today. But yeah, season 7's dropping soon. And Netflix is doing like a sneak peek event. It's like an immersive experiential thing. Immerse yourself in the Black Mirror experience, a virtual watch party. Yeah, I mean, it's on April 10th. I don't know. This looks really interesting.
I'll definitely check it out. I do like the newer stuff, and I loved their first attempt with the interactive Black Mirror stuff a couple of years ago. They tend to be a little bit more willing to experiment and push the boundaries with this particular franchise. So I don't see how they could come out with another season without trying something a little strange, a little different. Every time it's something new. So I will definitely be looking out for that in particular. That's cool. I had no idea that was happening.
Well, and to that point, in a press release they put out, said technology is still definitely at the forefront of season 7. So it'll be kind of a major continuous theme across Black Mirror. So yeah, Black Mirror season 7 is coming soon. So check out the trailers and everything on social.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting to hear more about what Netflix wants to do on the gaming side. They keep pushing, but it's been a slow release, whatever that is that they're doing with gaming. I was talking to someone earlier this week about why Netflix seems to be positioned so well to enter the cloud gaming space, and I still stand behind that. But beyond some of the advertisement and some of the early stuff that we've seen, I have yet to see like a full push on them entering that full gaming market. So here's to what I think will probably happen in the next year or so. If they're working on more interactive content, I just think it's all going to line up one day.
Well, they are. Definitely what I've been reading is that they're going to move away from having people download mobile apps for games, because that's what they were pushing people to do, and play more on the TV, because that's where people are already consuming, basically on the same app kind of thing. So I think it's definitely going to be more interactive. And with this Black Mirror season 7 and this virtual watch party, you're going to be able to rewatch an episode from past season. There's going to be Easter eggs. There's going to be interactivity. So I think gamifying the content, I think it's not only going to be gaming, as in video games, but I think they're going to start to gamify the content in ways that are a lot more interactive than they've done before. So we'll have to see, but I do think that they would have an edge if they do cloud.
I agree. And cloud is something that even Nintendo's not been really great at. Cloud gaming is a hard nut to crack. It relies a lot on the customer's internet access. Well, most major cities do have home fiber internet at this point, but many other areas don't and might not be able to pull this off unless it's very rudimentary, quote unquote, gaming. But to get true immersive gaming is still very difficult to pull off when it comes to cloud. That said, I can't think of any other company that has the experience that Netflix has streaming high quality, high definition content. So if anyone could do it, it'll probably be them.
So we'll have to see. In other news, are you a fan of Stranger Things?
Love Stranger Things. I think everyone knows this about me. I'm a huge Stranger Things fan to the point where even during COVID, when everyone was bored and had too much time on their hands, went and built like some fan-based Atari games that actually ran on the Atari. I just think Stranger Things is great, and I'm chomping at the bit for them to have this final season come out so we can wrap it up. It's one of those franchises I feel like Netflix has that they know they can take their sweet time on, so they do, and everyone's just going to have to be patient and wait.
Well, okay, so more breaking news for you. While people are waiting for the last season, Stranger Things, The First Shadow is on Broadway in New York. There's like a whole Broadway thing with Stranger Things. It's a limited run show. I know several of the teams that worked on it, so congratulations, guys. It is currently on Broadway, so maybe you should take a trip to New York.
But like, is it a musical? I'm trying to understand.
I don't know if it's a musical. It just doesn't give me musical vibes. I'm not quite sure. It's experiential, but I don't know if I want to sing about
Demogorgons.
And Demogorgons. Yeah, I don't know. Some other news about experiential things. Meow Wolf, which some of you guys might know, but they've done amazing experiences. They started off as an arts collective. I think it was in New Mexico, right? That's where they first were. Yep. They have a space in Vegas. They're coming to New York. There's very little details about that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's this moment of immersive experiences, both in virtual spaces, but also the physical world, like immersive entertainment, like Sleep No More, which is immersive theater without being in VR, right? I love this idea of being somewhere physically and having these immersive experiences, immersive entertainment, theater, and all these sorts of things. I actually seek out immersive theater wherever I go. I think it's a great experience. So Meow Wolf is coming to New York as well. Not a lot of details, but it's coming.
Well, and they've had a rough couple of years too. They've had some difficult things with ownership and people who have helped launch and create the artistic side of a lot of this stuff. So to see it continue on is a positive in my book. And I think that they were trying to get to New York to do this years ago. The immersive and location-based products that are out there for people for entertainment took such a hit during COVID. Those were just years lost to anyone who was on the verge. And we saw huge companies evaporate because of those location-based immersive theaters, in-person type stuff. Took a massive hit. So to see them not only still be around, which is in and of itself a win, but to expand and to bring it to a city like New York totally makes sense. And I think that's a no-brainer. It's going to be a huge hit. It's the perfect city for it.
Absolutely. So I'm excited. I'm glad I could break some news to you, Lee Keebler. This is good. I like that.
I did not know.
You were not expecting any of that. I'm like, left punch, right punch. I'm like, yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. So I want you to introduce this new segment that our friend ADM's working on and just let folks know what he's been working on because we're very excited to have him join the show.
Yeah, so Adam, ADM is what we call him here. He's going to start bringing in a new segment that focuses on everything from the community aspect to the artistic aspect where technology really hits the heart of life. And so he's been around. You've heard him in the past. He's come in, he's filled in when Kathy's not here, and we'll still do that as a fill-in for either one of us if we can't make it for a show or for an episode. But we've been discussing this is an area that Tech Magic has wanted to focus on for a while, and he went on with it and has created his own segment. So Adam, take it away.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, ADM. So Sundance, the world's biggest indie film fest, is leaving Park City after more than 40 years for Boulder, Colorado. And it got me thinking, just like this iconic festival, filmmaking and story making itself are moving in some pretty wild new directions. For those who know, Sundance isn't just a film festival. It's always been ground zero for innovation in indie filmmaking. From breaking boundaries with handheld cameras to digital cinema to live streaming in VR, Sundance has always welcomed disruption. But after 40 years, it outgrew Park City, moving to Boulder, a younger tech-forward college town. And this feels like Sundance kind of staying true to its disruptive roots. And right now, something similar is happening in filmmaking itself, with AI video generation pushing boundaries like crazy. So recently, I was invited to a private screening called Sora Selects, hosted by OpenAI right here in Hollywood. So this event showcased short films created using Sora, their new AI video gen platform. And honestly, it inspired me. But Sora's just one player pushing AI-driven creativity. We have platforms like Runway, Veo, and Midjourney, and they're all enabling a whole new class of creators, filmmakers, and storytellers to experiment in ways that were unimaginable just a few years ago. So it's less about replacing the old guard and more about expanding who gets to share their stories. But let's keep it real. There's some real tensions here in this space, right? Big tech platforms like OpenAI face tough scrutiny from creators who have valid concerns about ethics, creative licensing, royalties, and accountability, especially around training AI on artists' original work. It's going to be interesting to see how these tensions play out on Sundance's geographical new frontier. Sundance's move to Boulder could signal an openness to tackling these complex conversations head on, balancing groundbreaking creativity with the need to protect and respect the authenticity of artists. So here's what I think. Disruption is powerful, but authenticity and accountability are key. So let's stay curious, responsible, and watch closely where this indie tech journey takes us. Talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Adam. ADM for everyone out there. You'll be back next week with more of that type of story. Love hearing about anywhere where this technology is starting to bring in relationships between storytelling, disruption, AI technology, all of those type of things. And hearing about Sundance moving from Park City to Boulder after 40 years, that's going to be a massive change for the indie film industry. I think I didn't know it was happening. Another thing that has caught me off guard.
I knew there was like several cities in the running and that they were still trying to figure it out. So that's interesting. I think Cincinnati obviously was in the running. There were a couple of cities that were in the running, like were mentioned. But yeah, I mean, big changes, definitely.
I think Boulder makes a whole lot of sense. It's a great city. Colorado's a great location for it. Part of what he spoke about is like where Sora is going to come into play with a lot of this stuff. I'm still not sure how I feel about all of that. We have new law of like, okay, you can utilize AI to create something, but then a human has to alter it for it to be protected and to be considered a derivative work that is like under a protection law. As long as we're holding to those type of things, I can see some validity to it, but it is going to cause a lot of questions. I can easily see a future where these are just different categories wholeheartedly and they're treated differently. So yeah, thanks, Adam. We'll see you next week on that.
Thanks, Adam. All right. So I think that's the show for us today. Lee, do you want to close us out?
Of course, as always, before we wrap up, I always like to bring you some type of music that is new or forgotten or something that I've been listening to that's been a little bit different. This one really caught me off guard. And the reason it caught me off guard is because I don't actually have this album, but I'm going to have to get it. When I went to TreeFort to give the talk, the band that I play in, performed on Saturday night, and we opened for a jazz artist named Adrian Young. He's got an amazing series called Jazz is Dead that started in 2020 that he co-produced with Ali Shahid Muhammad. It's an innovative project that bridges generations by collaborating with legendary jazz artists that date all the way back to the 60s and 70s. They infuse timeless artistry with fresh contemporary grooves of their own production. They bring all of this together to make this amazing new album. Each track is a testament to the enduring vitality of jazz, and it's reimagined for today's listeners. So if you want to explore different soundscapes where traditional jazz meets new thoughts and ideas, Jazz is Dead is a series that I'm really digging and am hoping I can find on vinyl for my own collection. So that's my musical suggestion this week. Are you reading anything this week? I know you've been traveling a lot.
No, and this time I kind of would just talk about the World Economic Forum's Meet the Leaders podcast series, because I sat down with them and I was featured recently. Just this week, the episode was released. It was focused on spatial computing, the expansion of computing, the merging of physical and virtual, Gen Alpha. I mean, we talked about everything. It was a great episode. So I'm just honored and thrilled to be included and meet the leaders. I mean, it's like I'm in this carousel of images right now on the World Economic Forum's page for the podcast. And it's like Adam Grant, there's me, there's Misty Copeland. I'm like thrilled. So I'm excited. So go check it out. Meet the leaders from the World Economic Forum.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning into Tech Magic, where we always invite you to come for the tech and stay for the magic. I'm Lee Keebler here with the incredible Kathy Hackle. Special thanks, as always, to Adweek for bringing this show to you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. Reach out to us. Connect with us online. We'd love to connect with you. Just search for Tech Magic, Kathy Hackle, or me, Lee Keebler. You will find us, and we will be back next week.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.